Let's continue our conversation with Patrick J. Buchanan, one of the guys who, the title of one of his books in days past, Right from the Beginning. And Pat, I've said this before, you were right on the border before it was cool. Over 2 decades ago, you challenged George Herbert Walker Bush in part based on what that President Bush, that stance he had on the border. When you hear Josh Earnest, is this telegraphing executive action on
down the San Diego corridor? And we just said, look, I think we need a security fence on the border, double or triple line fence, to stop this. For the life of me, I never understood why the Republicans or George Bush didn't take that up. It was enormously popular across California. He might have beaten Clinton in California. But let's go to today. I think if Barack Obama goes ahead with an executive amnesty of 5 million illegal aliens in this country, I think he will tear the country apart. He will divide his own party. I mean, it would be a complete betrayal of the red state Democrats and others who do not want this amnesty. I think it would tear the Republican Party apart. Some corporate Republicans might quietly be enthusiastic. I think it would be a usurpation of power. I think it would be an act in the teeth of what the American people were saying in this election. And I think if he does it, I know La Raza will be cheering and getting out all the flags and everything. But I think it would be a real disaster for the country and for the disaster for the next 2 years, because it would divide us irrevocably.
Pat, in essence, is the president possibly playing a game of constitutional chicken, thinking the House and the Senate will not take action against him, the dreaded I word, impeachment?
Well, there's no question about it, but I think that the president, I think the president knows that the Republican Party is not going to go down that road to impeachment, and I think he will try to do something if he does executive amnesty, do it through halt to deportations of most of the illegal aliens and through handing out green cards and things like that without directly violating some particular federal law. But I think the Republicans should definitely act against him. But the spirit of it would be a spirit of contempt and a spirit of defiance of what the American people said to the White House. Look, this was a rejection election. The people voted against Barack Obama. His policies were on the ballot. He said himself they were rejected. His own party, they walked away from him. They didn't want him in the state. Very, very few of them did. Some of them would not even admit they voted for him. Does he not understand that the country does not like what he has been doing and does not like the consequences of his leadership? I mean, it is he who has an obligation, I think, to go to the Congress rather than them to come to him.
Pat, let me, in the 2 minutes that remain, bring up something else that happened. I hate to call it the Washington game, but it's a practice that has been utilized in the past. While we were all focused on the election, a document dump from the Department of Justice releasing thousands of documents related to Fast and Furious, that gun-running scandal and operation into Mexico. Eric Holder is still Attorney General. He wants to leave. What do you think will come out of that document dump, especially with Darrell Issa and his House committee?
Well, I would hope, look, if they've been withholding material that they're dumping now over this, I think they really ought to painstakingly. We've got 2 years in control, the Republicans do, in control of the Congress. Just make the case and do it in an authoritative way, and I think in a way that is persuasive to the American people, that it's not pure politics. Just lay it out there what they did in moving those guns into Mexico.
Well, as we move along and look at 2016, you advised presidents, you ran for the presidency yourself. With a minute remaining, if you had to take a look at the possible Republican field, who do you think emerges from the midterms strong and deserving consideration?
Well, I think there's no doubt that almost, given the size of the victory and the fact that candidates, on the establishment side, I think Chris Christie had a very good night. The governor's was amazing. You got the governor of Maryland. I think Rand Paul helped himself down there, and not only in Kentucky by fighting for McConnell, but going all over the country. Mitt Romney was all over the nation. I think that Ted Cruz was out there. He set aside some of his disagreements and went in for Pat Roberts. I think a number of them have helped themselves greatly, but I do think this engagement by March, that's when we all go to Iowa.
Well, and we will see you there. Pat Buchanan, his new book, The Greatest Comeback, How Richard Nixon Rose from Defeat to Create the New Majority. Pat, thanks for your time.